Hello, everyone, and welcome to part number 3 of Ollie and my top 20 games of all time. If you've just randomly stumbled across this one, you've missed 2 of the episodes, so we may mention what they were going back. So, yeah, listen to those first if you want to stay up to date. But apart from that, we're going to be doing from number 10 to number 6 today.
Yeah, I'm quite buzzing for this, to be honest. Last time it was so much fun, we accidentally did 2 in a row. So... yeah. We didn't intend on doing 2 in a row, but then all of a sudden, we're like, let's do another one. So,
I can't remember what you saying in the video or not, that your mouth was hurting from smiling so much. I can't remember if that,
it was,
if that
yeah,
was behind
I said
the
that
scenes or not.
Yeah. So much nostalgia. But this is I don't think there's as many nostalgia picks this time around. So
no, there's a lot of ones that was nostalgia and then like joint nostalgia, I guess, which is always fun. But none of that today. We're getting to serious business. We're getting to this is the top 10. These are the ones that matter.
This is what everyone was asking for.
Yeah, genuinely it is. Yeah. So do you want to go first? What is your 10th favourite game of all time?
You should go first.
Okay, I'll go first then.
Go first.
See, my things I like going last. You know, I want to have a strong finish. Right?
Yeah, I know, but you're going first this time. So
right, so my 10th one I accidentally spoilt to you because I mentioned it by accident.
You did. I forgot that you did that.
I can't remember what I was saying. I just went to list off a random one, and I accidentally realised I said one that I hadn't announced yet. But my 10th favourite game is Dishonored 2, the sequel to Dishonored.
And I think they deserve a little congratulations this time round. Because they're in the top 10.
Made it to top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the right amount.
yeah.
Maybe they get one clap for 10, and then the first
as
one will get 10
down.
claps.
Yeah.
Will build up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've actually... Yeah, I was going to say I've never played it. I just know it's your laptop wallpaper. That's all of my knowledge of the game is that.
And that's the only thing I like about it. Great wallpaper. The gameplay is awful. It's buggy. The story doesn't make any sense, but that wallpaper is beautiful. I mean, you know what Dishonored is, right?
No, not really. So maybe you should even do that.
Yeah, so it's made by Arcane, the developers of other such hits as Prey, you may have heard of.
Classic.
So they're basically kind of like stealth immersive sims. They kind of stand out a little bit in the immersive sim genre, basically because their setting and also their, I say, time period. It's kind of a fictional world, but it's kind of set in late 1800s. So there's... there's kind of guns, but not really. It's basically melee focused, and then you have a bunch of powers. You can turn invisible. You can teleport around. You can take control of animals, and if you power up, eventually people. So there's all these crazy things you could do where you someone could shoot and you freeze time, and then you control one of the other enemies to make them walk in front of the bullet, or someone's throwing something at you, you can stop time, take it out midair, and put it somewhere else, and then. Control a fish to swim away. So there's all of these sandbox things that you can do throughout the game. And then in Dishonored 2 in particular, there's a really cool thing. You can basically tether all of the enemies together, I think up to 5 or something. And then anything that happens to one of them applies to all of them. So if you knock one out, or knock them all out. If you put them to sleep, or if they get blown up, they're all just start flying around and stuff. It's a great playground, and it's I love the setting. It's really interesting, and if I wasn't doing my one per franchise rule, I'd probably have both of them on here.
Oh wow!
But I think Dishonored 2 is a little bit more. I love Dishonored 1. I love the setting. It's called Dunwall. It's kind of more like Gothic kind of London style with all the rats and stuff. But Dishonored 2 has just got some of the best levels I think in any game. I don't know. Have you heard of some of the settings from?
No, that's
Dishonored
why
2?
I was saying I don't really know, because I didn't even know. I was like, it's definitely not modern, but apart from that, I don't know anything about the setting even. So that's why I said.
It's all a fancy world, but it's just some particular levels. So they're all so varied, despite what you're doing in them is similar. There's the Clockwork Mansion, which I think is the one people talk about most, where it's this crazy inventor, and they've built a clockwork mansion. So you go in and it's a normal building, but then it can all shift, and you would press a button, and then all the walls would shift and things can come down. But then it never tells you this, but you realize that as the walls are shifting, you can kind of sneak through or under things to get to behind it. So it's all actually mechanically works. And so you can kind of go behind the scenes and use that to get to places, and the design on it is just crazy. And then there's another level where it's kind of switching between time. There's like this mansion when it was all populated with people and there's like a party going on, and then it now where it's all like deserted and like all like run down and everything, and you can switch between them, and then you have like a device where you can kind of peer through like a bit of glass in your hand to see what is on the other side, and then there's like puzzles you can do to like, oh, the wall's broken here so I can get to the other side or get into this safe and stuff. But then there's like enemies in each version, a bit like Titanfall 2. They had a cause and effect level. Yeah, so it's similar to that, but they did it first.
What compared to Prey, what are the enemies like? Because that was my main problem with Prey, was the enemies were like too hard and they didn't really move when you shoot them.
Yeah, so it's basically mainly humans, but then sometimes it will be like, there are some like in the Clockwork Mansion, there's like clockwork things that are kind of terrifying that go after you, and then like it might be a person, but they're on like a big walker. There was actually a lot of the same designers came over from Half-Life 2, and so you can kind of imagine that style of like a big walker. So it's just them kind of controlling it, but then you need to try and get up to them and take them down. And then there's like dogs and things, but there isn't. And then like, I guess other animals, and then there's like an infection going around. So there's like infected people that will kind of run and grab you, almost like zombies, and like throw up on you and stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Like, right. But it's just fully system based. Like if you killed like more enemies, it means that there'll be more rats in the game, and the rats can hurt you, so they can be a pain. But also that's more potential because you could like take control of a rat, and then you can use that to get into places. So there's all of these different systems constantly going on in the background.
So you're like literally going inside it and literally coming out of the animal. Like you're not like controlling them and you're standing over there. You're like...
No, you can use it to get to places and like get through gaps and things. Wow. Or like control enemies to get them to like do things for you.
Wasn't there also like a DLC that's like standalone? I think I saw it on Game Pass.
Yeah, for both games, there's really good DLC. Yeah, and I've played all of it. It's all as good as the main game. Like the game works really well. Like there is like an open world structure, but it works really well as levels. Often it will be like you're getting like this tram to like this island with a building on, or you know that they all work as quite contained areas. So it kind of works really well for DLC. But yeah, fantastic game.
Nice. Any interest in Deathloop? And they haven't played it.
Yeah, I'm going to play it. So I always said when it came out on PS5, I know it's going to be on Game Pass in a year, and I was right. And I knew it'd have like a bunch of updates and stuff, which it has done. It's like the Golden Edition or something. Yeah. So like I'm glad I waited. Nice. My list of games to play right now, was like just the podcast. Like there's some big games coming up. So I don't know. I'm probably not going to start it now because I'm still doing Sekiro as well. But yeah, I'll definitely play it.
God, busy. It's like a job, isn't it?
Busy boy.
Keeping up
too
with
many games to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great job.
Okay, I'm going to do my number 10. So just before I said I can't record one of my games for this, this is the one I can't record. So my number 10 is No More Heroes 3, which came out last year on the Switch. And the reason I can't record it is because I traded it in because they're doing a re-release on Xbox and it's not out yet. So I'm waiting for the re-release, which is coming out on October the 11th. So yeah, this game was last year, and it would have been my game of the year last year if it was not for another game that also came out last year, because it was really surprised me because I've always liked No More Heroes. And I've always thought it was quite cool, but like a bit of a mess, and kind of saw through the mess because I really like the gameplay. But No More Heroes 3 ran really badly, like 15 frames a second on the Switch, and even that wasn't enough to stop me from like absolutely.
But it's strange because the graphics were so impressive. It makes
the
sense,
graphics
doesn't it?
were bad, but I don't know. There's just something about this game that's like, so it's basically like an adventure game. It's melee. It's like sword fighting. It's not like Devil May Cry. It's much simpler than that. It's probably more in line with like, probably not even near Automata. It's probably even simpler than that. But it's just like so much creativity in it, and the art is like really good, and it changes art style like multiple times. Like it's funny. Like it's funny as in like, you know, mainstream comedy funny, and it's also funny like because it's weird. So like it just does a lot of things I've never seen. I don't really want to spoil any of them because it's getting a re-release just in case anyone's not played it, which they probably haven't. But I would strongly recommend it if you like action adventure games or like Bayonetta or anything like that. Like you will definitely like this game. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any like? So obviously we were originally going to do the original No More Heroes on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we ended up backing away from it just because there's some like some weird moments and like some of the female
really
characters.
Sexist. Like
is this one? But obviously this is a new one. Like this is a modern one. Like how is that stuff? Is it any better?
Well, the story of the first one was that he had to kill 10 people in order to win over a woman that he wanted to have as his girlfriend, I suppose. And the story of this one is that aliens invade Earth and they're like, you can kill our leader if you kill 10 of us beforehand. So like even all that is just gone. They don't even bother that anymore. And the female characters in it, they look the same as they used to because they're the same characters, but the way they act is a lot different. And the whole weird perv angle is kind of just gone. I don't think it would have flown in 2021 like it did in 2005. No. So yeah, a lot of that's just gone. But the alien designs are just crazy. Like they look like kids' drawings that's just done, but then like rendered like in brand new 3D graphics. Like they just look like absurd. Like they have like some of them have like big boxy bodies, then like hot like tinfoil tube arms and like stuff like that, but like the way they are in cutscenes is as if they're like really menacing and scary, so like it just comes off as really funny. And all the art style changes are really cool. Like there's some like hand-drawn animation parts, and there's like 8-bit games you have to do as well. Like it's just really good. There's so much variety in there.
Do you know did it do well? Like do you have any gauge? Like did it like was it critically like liked, or
I think people liked.
It's not spoke about much.
No, I think people liked it, but it's really held back by its performance. Like, so it's open world, and the open world's pretty much empty. Like, there's things to do, but there's no people, there's no cars. There'll be like one person walking around, and it runs at like 15 frames a second. But like when you're actually like playing the levels, it's so good. Like the fighting system is 60 FPS, and like it's super fun. Like perfect amount of complexity that you don't get bored, but also it's not like, you know, Devil May Cry where you have 300 moves you're never going to use. It's just really exciting, and it was one of those things that it was the first game in a long time that I just played. I probably finished it in 2 or 3 sittings, and it was like, it was awesome. It was like throwback to being a teenager.
So you say wait till the Xbox, or is it coming to PlayStation
Xbox,
as well?
PlayStation and PC, October 11th. Okay, so it may be out by the time you're hearing this.
Definitely. Almost definitely.
Yeah.
These are going to take a long time to edit.
Yeah. I'd say get that version. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just not going to say anything else.
Okay, cool. It's nice because there's some of these games are like obviously huge games that most people know, and then I think there's some weird ones as well, or like lesser known ones, I suppose. Right, so my number 9. I've done 3 in a row of sequels of part 2s, and this is Portal 2.
Portal 2 over Portal 1.
We've had this discussion. We've had the Portal discussion. So this was the other game where I was like one per franchise because it would be boring to have both. I'm super close with them. I agree with what you say about like I think Portal 1's a more like flawless game. It's like it's a great length. It like does what it needs to do. Like no jokes overstay their welcome. But I think just like I love it so much, and Portal 2 gives me more. I like the new characters. I know you're not as fond of them. I think it's funnier. I think like it probably has more misses and jokes, but it has more attempts. I love the ending of it. I think it's really funny. I enjoy the gels. I think they're a smart twist where like they could have given you another gadget, like another thing, and I think that would have ruined. I like the fact all you're doing is shooting 2 portals still, but despite that, they still add all these other mechanics. That's all you're still doing is only shooting 2 portals. I think it's really smart, and I guess picking things up.
That ending's crazy as well. Where you shoot the moon, like man, that was proper mad. That I remember. And
the way you like kind of go through it a bit and then like come back as well.
Yeah, there's like it's almost like the payoff for the whole like you shoot it on white surfaces.
Yeah, I know. Like the fact that it's the same shade as the walls as well, like just to make it so clear. And then like I know like there's the jokes have all been overdone, like Cakes a Lie and like the Space Core and stuff, but like that's no fault on the creators.
No, it's not.
It has kind of ruined it a little bit because it's hard to find it funny because you've heard it so much. But it's like, oh yeah, the reason we're all like commenting on it is because it's so good. And
Yeah.
the songs at the end, I know the first Portal song's a bit better, but I enjoy the second one. And the second one's got great co-op as well, which
That's
we
what I was
are
going to say about
hoping
co-op.
to play.
Like, yeah, so we're looking to play that. Hope it's out now actually. On Games of Gold, so we can play it. But
Yeah.
what's it like compared to single player then? Because I've never played it, so.
You've not done it at all. So it's basically the same. Obviously, like, so you have like a ping system and then like an automatic like countdown system. So you could say like, okay, you drop, instead of saying 3, 2, 1, you can put like a timer on screen.
Nice. That's clever.
And then there's lots of opportunities to like launch each other into things or like take away the portal at the last second. There's a lot, and they make like that in the trailer. They were showing that stuff, and then you just respawn. There's less like dialogue and story stuff. There's some scattered throughout, but it's mainly just like test chamber, solve the puzzles. It's much less of a story than the campaign, but it works great.
I guess that makes sense as well, because you probably wouldn't be listening if it was a story.
Yeah, you're talking to whoever you're playing with.
Yeah. You stopped at saying friend then, because you realised you were going to play with me. You're like, talking to whoever you're playing with.
I was going to say play with your mate, and then I realised that you could be playing with anyone, so I didn't want to. I probably don't need to say anything else about Portal 2. It's probably like the highest Metacritic score, or very close to it, out of all of the games on either of our lists, because it's such a beloved game.
Is it that high up? Is it higher than one?
I bet it's super high up on Metacritic.
I don't know. I don't think it is. I think probably. I'm going to guess. I mean, bearing in mind that everything's pretty high up on Metacritic, I'm going to guess it's 87.
Nah, 95.
What? Man.
It's a great game.
These Americans laughing at our stupid English comedians, like, thinking they're so clever when they're not.
The game is amazing, and all the stuff with like Cave Johnson and like all of that stuff, and like seeing like the old like facility. And just it's the artwork as well. Like remember, like there's like the huge like round door, which is like enormous, and like some of like the sets are really cool, and like the way it. Like something like the set piece moments, like when you're battling Wheatley and he's like trapping you and like saying go this way, and then like he'll like pull stuff away from you or try and trap you in a room, or like because he's like really bad at making levels, and remember he's trying to make like test chambers for you, but they're really bad and they look
I
user
do not remember
content.
it like you do. I do not remember.
Man. I played it again recently.
When did it come out?
I'm not sure.
It was PS3. So it's pretty old.
It's probably like 2000 and maybe 2005, 2006. Do you reckon?
Potentially, probably a bit later than that. Probably more like 2009, 2010.
Right.
But I played it when it came out, and I don't remember.
Oh yeah, 2011. I thought it was earlier.
I judge everything in my mind by the London Olympics. So I remember watching that loads. I'm like, was it before 2012 or was it after 2012?
Yeah, I guess we had the orange box and Portal 1, same gen earlier on, I guess. So yeah, that makes more sense. But yeah, play it again, rejog your memory. I wonder if you'll enjoy it more now.
Yeah, especially now it's on old Games of Gold. Got no reason not to.
Yeah, and on PC as well.
Yeah.
With ray tracing. Actually, no, it won't have ray tracing, but the original Portals, they're adding ray tracing, aren't they?
Yeah, someone will mod it into the second one.
Yeah.
They're similar enough that I think you probably could.
But yeah, right. There's my number 9. So
my number 9, this will be a quick one, because it's had a podcast episode about it, and it is Killer 7 from 2018. The 2018 version specifically is this version on here. The PC
your little
version.
Suda 51 chunk.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. The PC port specifically, because the speed up of loading and changing character is necessary in that
controls
game.
As well.
And the controls, yeah. I mean, I know you played it on pad, but playing with a keyboard and mouse was just so much easier.
It was okay on pad, but I had to completely change the default controls, so I'm not aiming with the left stick and pressing X to shoot.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that game came out in 2003, 2004, and I feel like the 2018 port didn't change that much. In terms, especially of how it looks, and it's not really aged, I don't think. So, I mean, the controls were like that in 2003. Like, it's not, they were pretty bad then. So, in terms of how it looks and the story and that, it's not really aged. And I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it ever will, to be honest.
No, I don't think the art will, certainly.
Yeah.
I think maybe other aspects. Yeah, I think the art and the sound, I don't think will ever age.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to say. We did a podcast on it, so
Yeah, if you want to hear
We
more,
can link to it. Yeah, we link to it.
There's
somewhere.
a whole podcast where we go really in depth about this game. Just be warned, it's a super adult game. So if you,
it is. Yeah,
if you're gonna go into that, right then. So my one, trying to think if this has been on your list yet. I don't think it has, but my number 8 is Overwatch.
Ah, okay, yeah, it's on my list, but I've not said it yet.
Okay, so we've got that to look forward to. So this is, well, I'll let you go first then, because this is our chance to chat about it. You obviously like it more than me, because it's made it higher up. What do you love about Overwatch?
I mean, what's not to love? Like multiplayer is already fun because you're with your mates, so that's great. I don't really play it on my own ever, so I don't really know about like toxic ranked and all that because I don't play ranked either. I just mess around with my friends. Amazing characters, unbelievable production values. Like, it's like properly well balanced, especially the level I'm playing at. It's like if someone finds a tactic that's quite annoying, they usually patch it out within a couple of weeks. Like, it's just great, isn't it? Every character is like, they could all sustain their own game, their own franchises. Like, I like all of them. There's no characters that I'm like, some of them I don't like because I'm like, oh, that guy's lame, like Hanzo, but like he's still an amazing character.
We did a whole tier list ranking of the characters
we did,
as well.
Yeah. There's none of them that I'm like, oh, I hate that guy. I can see they're still good characters. They're just not for me. Like, Hanzo and Genji. But like, man, I'm surprised it took as long as it did to make Overwatch, like get to that level where like, it just seems like everything has been so well thought about and so well balanced. And it seems like they're using the data from millions of hours worth of people playing to actually balance the game.
Yeah. I do feel like original Team Fortress 2 had that, but it was just such a simpler game, and like it had like there's a lot of DNA in Overwatch, especially at launch,
definitely.
that you can see from Team Fortress 2.
Definitely.
And like even like the animated cutscenes for like the characters and a lot of like the game modes are kind of lifted straight from that. But then they just like took it up a notch and then like another couple notches. Like
TF2 had like 9 characters, and when we played it, it had about 5 maps, and they all looked the same, and every character was a man. Like, it was a bit like the simple version. But I loved Team Fortress 2. Like, I played, hundreds of hours of that. But yeah, Overwatch it's just like the game that I tell everyone to play and get on, but no one ever does anymore. So,
well, we were weird because I got into Overwatch way before you, and so I had my like time when I was obsessed with it, and then I was kind of just coming down on it as you got into it. So and then I was playing like other things, but we have played a decent amount.
Yeah,
still.
definitely. I can't believe that.
I've really got.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I haven't really got much to add in terms of like the game overall. I say I really just love the positive vibes of it, like as well. Like the fact is like, here's a level set in Iraq, and it's like, it's beautiful, rather than like compared to like Iraq in other shooters, I love that. And then also something that I've got into more than you is the Overwatch League. I got really into the Overwatch League. I got jerseys of my favorite teams. And then the team that I followed all kind of disbanded and went to different teams. And then there's new players on the team. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. So I kind of drifted away a little bit. So
it's just one of those things that's like, I remember when I got it, because you asked me basically to come on Xbox Live and heal you. That's how I ended up playing it for the first time. And it's one of those things that I feel like if you've not played it, you just need to give it a go with someone who knows how to play, and you will literally have such a good time. Even if you're just healing them, like you will have such a good time. It's so much fun.
It's better. And it's one of the few games where like at every skill level you can be having fun. Like I was talking about like my 20th game, Quake Champions. Like for what I enjoy of the game, like it's only fun once you've played it for like hours and hours and like spent ages like learning those basics. Whereas in Overwatch, I feel like you can just have fun straight off the get-go, like just using the abilities are fun, and you're like the characters and all their voice lines and stuff. It's just immediately fun. And then like the deeper you go, like it has the chops to be super competitive on that side as well.
Yeah, and also like for me anyway, the fact that it has quite a lot of fighting game crossover with like the fact that there's 30 characters and some of them are natural counters to other ones and they all have their own moves. That was like, I just took to that really easily. So but I could see why that might put people off, like especially if they play like Fortnite and they don't really have to, you're one guy. But I do feel now like I'm glad I played it from the beginning and have seen every new character added, rather than like
now and be like, there's so many characters, because obviously you'll learn the characters that you're playing as, but you kind of need to know every character, because you need to almost just as well know what other people are going to do. Like when someone shouts some like crazy voice line because they're doing their ultimate, you need to know, am I looking up, am I looking down, what's this spark, what's, you got to learn them all. So maybe that can be a bit intimidating, but learning them all is so fun. I don't think it ever was, like, as far as I can remember, it was never frustrating. I never felt like, I don't know, like, that's not fair, because I think at that point you don't care about winning or losing or anything. You're just happy to be there because it's a fun place to be.
And also that there was 6 of you per team, so if one player doesn't know, then there's 5 people to back them up. So that's where it's a bit different. Obviously a fighting game, if you don't know, you're just dead because you're on your own.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, hopefully, I mean, October 2nd could be the last time we ever play. I don't know, depending on Overwatch 2 and what happens.
There's a big question mark over Overwatch 2 at the moment.
Yeah,
with some of the stuff that they've announced, where you don't get all of the characters for free with it, and you have to unlock them in the battle pass by either playing or buying them, which kind of, I mean, it might end up all being fine, and we're over worried, but from what they've said so far, it is it is a bit worrying.
I reckon they're starting at their worst, and they're going to reel it in and find a level at where people. They normally
go the other way.
yeah. Find the level where people are like, oh, okay, this seems all right.
Well, every Call of Duty launches without microtransactions until the review periods are done, and then they add them in. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of doing that. If you've played Overwatch 1, you don't have to pay for the battle pass; you get it for free. So it's a bit like, by the time that's done, Anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but great game, amazing, incredible. Don't play it so much anymore, but I am waiting for Overwatch 2, and I will definitely give it a good go.
Sweet. Okay, my number 8 is Super Mario Galaxy. My favourite Mario game, by far. My favourite platformer. The game just brings me absolute joy. Like, it's one of those things where I just can't stop smiling when I'm playing that game. I think it might be because the music is also amazing. Like, it's all orchestral, isn't it? And it's just like, mate, I don't really know what to say about Mario Galaxy because it's so good. Like all the little planets, like the top-down view makes it so easy to run around and like not get disorientated, surprisingly. Or you can judge the distances better. You don't have to control the camera. Like I played through it twice when it came out, and I bought the 3D collection, whatever it was called, and I played it again then. And I was like, oh, this won't be as... Because I played Mario Odyssey, obviously. I was like, this won't be as good as I remember. And it is. And I also not that keen on the second one. I much prefer the first one.
What's the big... So I've only played the first one. What's like the big difference with the second one?
There's 2 differences for me that make it not as fun. One of them is that you don't have the ship, the Mario ship, where you fly around. You just have a world map where you just choose between each thing. And the other thing is, like the launching stars, where you go like and shoot out? On Super Mario Galaxy 2, they have a line going to where they go. And that just kind of ruined it for me, because the first one was like, it has like a glow of light, but you don't really know which way you're going. And you just kind of fly around, whereas in the second one, you can see the line going to wherever it's supposed to be going.
That's such like a funny specific thing, but like for the actual like... Because I think overall, people rate the second one higher.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like, obviously, it wasn't as fresh. Like, because when Galaxy came out, like after coming from it was Sunshine, I guess, was the one before that. Yeah, so that's quite a leap to get to Galaxy. So it's probably quite exciting. But like, I'm kind of surprised that you're so much on the first one rather than the second one.
Also, it's another one of those things, isn't it, where it's like it was new the first time round. So, and also like the fact that the story is not good, but they kind of give it enough that it does feel like there's some stakes. Yeah. Like, it does actually feel like, oh my god, the princess has been kidnapped. I do need to do something, or like, I do need to get these Lumas, whatever they're called. Whereas, like, normally it's like, but I think it's because, like, the music and the setting and all that is actually gives it a bit of gravitas, and it's like...
Yeah, I think just being through space, it all feels a bit more like magic, It always feels a bit closer to Zelda than a traditional, like, Saturday morning cartoon Mario, where, it's normally a bit more over the top.
Or it's even almost like a Pixar film, like flying through space and all that. Like, it really is. Yeah. It still feels different to Odyssey.
I was going to ask about Odyssey. So Odyssey is my favorite Mario game. What like makes Galaxy win over Odyssey for you?
For me, Odyssey was just a bit too easy. And it was a bit too
All
much
right.
no, because you're just getting moons. Every step you go forward and you like, kick a rock and it's like, oh, you got a moon.
No,
and it's like, you
so-
only
so-
need 9 to get through the level. So
Yeah, I know, but that's so the kids can do it. So the idea is like to get through the game, like your 5-year-old can do it.
yeah,
But if you're a serious gamer like we are here at the bonus points,
yeah.
Then you got to get all of them. That's get if you want to complete the level, you got to
Yeah.
get them all.
I think
And then
I
there's
went,
all the dark side of the moon stuff at the end where it gets
Yeah.
more challenging, and like the bonus challenge stuff that you don't need to do, but there is challenge there.
I unlocked the dark side of the moon, and I never managed to do it. But that's how much of it I played. So I got that far to unlock that. But then it's
Okay.
just like I don't have the drive, It's a lot often when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back and play that game again. Like for example, Death Stranding. I went back and played it twice. And now I'm just like, well, I finished it. I don't need to go back anymore. It's the same with Mario Odyssey, isn't it? Like it kind of ends. And then I've seen it. How much new
Yeah.
stuff is there going to be,
That's true. Then I guess if you're going back to old places and it's like, oh yeah, I know there's this many either moons or stars, whatever, but it's like, I don't know where they are. Like you kind of always want to
Yeah.
like start fresh again because it's like, well, I can't even remember where I've looked before. I'm just going to be just jumping on things and
Yeah, exactly.
Looking
And
for
also,
stuff.
I just really like the setting of Galaxy, like the space setting. Like it is like magical, which I prefer over the Odyssey. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, fantastic game. I love it as well. As I outraged you, Astrobot is my favorite platformer, but yeah, I do love like Galaxy is my second favorite Mario game.
How do you feel, by the way, that you're not going to be able to play Astrobot again because PSVR 2 is not backwards compatible?
Well, I would be able to play it now because I still got my PS4, but my cat ate the cables for my, so I can't use my PlayStation VR. So I don't feel happy about that. I didn't let my cat sleep on me for a week.
Yeah, maybe they'll make a new one for the new PSVR.
Yeah, or maybe port it. If they port it and like have done like a big upres or something, that would like make me. That would be the first thing where I'd be tempted to get the PlayStation VR. As stupid as that sounds for like a small platforming
The game that came with it. It's like I can't believe it's so crazy.
No, that's a proper game. The rescue mission one. That's a proper
Did it come
game.
with it or not?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just like the bundled in.
No. They did have a bundled in thing with those robot characters. Like it's like a bunch of mini games.
Yeah,
there's like
Playroom.
one where you're like a dinosaur or something, and like a Western one in that. Yeah, so that was free because they had in that one of the games was like Astrobot, like a platformer, and they were like, God, this is good. Let's make a whole game of this.
Ah, okay, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so my number 7 we're on to now, and this is Halo 3.
Halo 3. Nice. I'm glad you picked that one out of all the Halos.
Is that the one? Is that your favorite?
That is, it's not on my list, but that is my favorite Halo game, yeah.
Oh yeah. I had a guess out of like if it's on their top 100, where would Halo 3 be?
On my top 100?
Yeah.
Probably like 55?
Okay. I remember us playing it a bit back in the day. I remember us really nerding out about the theater mode a lot. And
Yeah.
like jumping over things and like getting screenshots and stuff.
Yeah, and like every match that ended, you'd be like, oh, let's watch that back. Let's watch that back indeed, so I see what weird things happened. Yeah, that's another fun little hangout game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
And that's a big reason why it's on the list as well. Like, I mean, I enjoy the campaign. Well, I played the campaign loads because Hangout game with 4-player co-op, which was great. Apart from when anyone lagged out, it ended the whole game, and that was with the way internet was back in the day.
Yeah.
that kind of got painful. But yeah, I pretty repeated that campaign so much. And then like the multiplayer, like I played every aspect of it. Like we'd spend loads of time messing around in custom games. I got super into Forge and making levels, building labyrinths and like puzzle maps and stuff. I think I made like 10 proper labyrinth maps full of all puzzles and stuff. I ended up making videos on them. I kind of got my start into YouTube doing videos about those maps and stuff and showing them off. And then theater mode, which is obviously like still most people haven't matched it in current games. Like even a lot of just like even the most Halo Infinite, their like spectator mode, it never like lines up. Like you watch like competitive Halo and they're using that spectator cam, they're always shooting like slightly off and like the hit markers are coming up, but it never lines up exactly right.
Okay, yeah.
But Halo 3 had it down. Yeah, it's such a time and place game for me. Like when I was in college, like I had quite a lot of free time when I was in college. I was working hard, but still had like probably as much free time as I'd ever had, and like long summer breaks and stuff. And like it would be like we'd turn on the Xbox and like I'd look at my friends list and there'd be like 20 people all playing Halo, and it'd be like, let's like invite them in. Like I'd spend ages designing like, I'll tell you a funny story, which is like gonna make me look really bad, but we can laugh at old me. So like I spent ages making these maps, and I'd make like these inspired by Team Fortress 2, like these big attack and defend maps where you got to you start literally locked off in a room for a minute, and then the other team can go out. And it was never an official mode. I just made it and did it so when this barrel finally spawned and fell, it would blow up and open up a one-way door and stuff. And so I spent ages designing it, but of course it's just a map I made, so I'd have to do a custom game. So I'd have to gather like 12 people to join this game. And I remember there was one time I'd spent like weeks making a map, and I got everyone in the lobby and we were all ready to start, which like took ages. And then my mum called me saying that dinner was ready.
No.
I've never been more angry for my mother lovingly like making me a fresh meal, and I was so angry at my mum for like absolutely zero fault for her for like making me this, and I was like, no, and I was like everyone wait, I'm gonna eat really quick. And I was like, thanks mum, I'm gonna go. Oh dear!
Did you ever play the map? Did you play it?
Yeah. We actually ended up becoming one of the favorites.
Nice. The Halo 3 online experience I don't think has been matched. Like, you just invite people in, and anything that I'm doing, you're coming with me. Like, that has not been matched by anything else. It's just so stupid because like it's a solved problem. They did this in 2008 or whatever, and we're still online. Like, not even that long ago, me and you and Chris tried to play Bomberman online, and we couldn't figure out how to invite someone. Like, it's just crazy. This is a solved problem.
They got it working before Xbox Live was properly a thing. Like, before you had like proper like console-wide friends list and stuff. In Halo 2, they added that stuff just all into the game, and they basically made it, and then that kind of inspired what Xbox Live eventually ended up becoming. But yeah, what was your favourite
multiplayer mode?
I mean, probably just like straight Slayer, to be honest. Like, it's like I never really did big team stuff. Like, I got quite like it's so good because we could do like competitive modes, and like we all played a lot, so we were all we didn't lose. Like we played a lot, so and it had that like competitive side to it, which is great. But like my memories is doing things like the modes that we made, like mode called like Pink Gun. Do you remember that?
No.
So it's like everyone's just pink, and you have just a pistol, and you're like full insanely fast, like faster than any vehicle, one shot kills with a magnum, and then you'll be in a small level where you're all just respawning quick, and you're just like taking like pot shots as soon as they spawn. Then like the Jenga towers, where people would build a Jenga tower of blocks, and then someone would be like flinging things, and like every time you go online, it was such a community. Like, there wasn't party chat yet, so you'll join a lobby and everyone had their mics in, and like you'd always like have people like joking or swearing at you before every game, and then like you kill them and you hear a little glimpse of them being angry at you and stuff. Like, it was such like a strong community, and I think Halo 3 has aged. I think if you go back and just play straight like multiplayer Slayer matches, like the guns will feel a little bit weak and the movement's a bit too slow.
It's slow, isn't it?
I think it's, I don't think it's the best Halo. I think it's my favorite because of the time I had with it, and still one of my favorite campaigns. But I think if you're looking for just a competitive multiplayer shooter, I think Halo Infinite is probably the best, closely followed by Halo 5. But in terms of like the time and the community and the innovation, like I think it's probably, people can argue the first one, but I think Halo 3 is the biggest innovator with Forge and all the theater mode and all the way it tracks your stats. You could go onto Bungie Net, type in your name and see heat maps and this is where I've been going on the maps, and this is where I get kills, like all of that stuff. Like, no one was doing that. Most modern games now aren't even that good.
Yeah, I used to like Mosh Pit. That was my favorite mode.
Yeah,
that was the like King of the Hill. I can't remember if it moved or if it appeared in different places.
So Mosh Pit was like a playlist which would have different modes in. It wasn't its own.
No, wait. So what's the one that's like a King of the Hill? And there's maybe it was someone made, but it was like the lowest point on the map. So like everyone
Yeah.
would just like jump like into this
So Mosh Pit was meant to be more like city, like spawn with random weapons, like fiesta modes, and so it was like it was
so maybe
free for all, like gimmicky modes, like it was a playlist.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just like King of the Hill then. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that has aged badly in Halo 3 is the you've dropped the flag, you've picked up the flag, you've dropped the flag.
Yeah, there's a lot of like stuff around the edges with it, and even on the campaign, there's a lot of like pacing issues. You know, when they keep trying to stop to talk to you, like it's like a ton has been taken and stuff, and some really bad levels in that. But yeah, Halo 3's probably not the best Halo, but like it's such a title. Like me and my friend. We drew versions of like the map, like we did like fan art, and I put it up on my wall of like just maps that we liked. And you can probably I won't name them in case they find this embarrassing, but it's probably the friend you imagine, a female friend who I played Halo a lot with. And there was one time when we were gonna get the train somewhere, and we were walking down the road, and then I suddenly looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh, we're a bit early. If we go home, we could probably have one more game of Halo and still catch the train." And we sprinted home to play one more game of Halo. That's how obsessed we were. She would come over like every weekend and like stay either Friday or Saturday night, and we'd like play until like 5 a.m. Like literally the sun would be coming up. We'd be playing with our American friends who we've ended up meeting in real life through meeting them in Halo. It was like, it's probably my happiest like time gaming online.
Wow. Look at that.
And that's a
well-deserved. Yeah, well-deserved number 7 is what I was about to say. Okay, so my next one, probably another quick one, because we've also done a podcast episode on this one as well. It's Last of Us 1.
Oh, 1? Oh! So in the podcast, you said that you had a flip and you preferred Last of Us 2 more than 1.
I don't prefer it more. I can see that it's like quite a jump over the first one, but I still prefer the first one. The story of it, the fact that it's not quite as full on, it's ever so slightly nicer. It's enough. And also, again, like I keep saying, when I played the first one, it was new. You know, it was a whole new thing.
Yeah,
that was like.
I love what you say it was new.
As in, it was new to me. Yeah, it's kind of opened my eyes a bit to PlayStation exclusives that I was skipping all of these years. So. Not because I didn't have a PlayStation, I was just like, I don't know why, I just sort of got in my head that they were all the same. And Last of Us has just blown me away with how amazing it is. It's even better than Uncharted, isn't it? Which I thought was like pretty much the highest point video games had ever gotten to. So
Yeah, no, as I said, when you had Uncharted 2 on the list, I definitely prefer it over Uncharted. Obviously one of the most celebrated games of all time. As we said, we have I love this just turned into an advert for our own videos, but we have a whole podcast on both Last of Us 1 and Part 2. So if you want to hear more about the game or hear more in depth about our opinions, feel free to go and listen to them.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good episode as well. Good guest.
Yeah, both ones.
Both good
guess. Funny, but like one of them was a good guess for the other one. Oh, I mean, what were they on about? Yada yada yada. Talk. Right, so this is my final one now for today, which is number 6. Another quick one. Disco Elysium.
Hey, nice. Number 6. Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming we're going to see it again a little bit later.
We are going to see it again a little bit later. Yeah.
At what point? I'm doing my maths, and so if Last of Us was there, I know what's coming.
Yeah, we will indeed. I mean, do you know what? Earlier on today, I heard about 3 seconds of the Revachol song. And I was like, straight back there. I was like, oh, God.
I heard it then. And I think also because it's so such puts you in the setting, and you hear it a lot. So
I saw a really funny Twitter thread. I mean, we're not going to go over it because we did a whole episode on it again. Another episode you can go back and listen to. But I saw a really funny Twitter thread of people complaining that everyone in the game treats the main character like he's an idiot. And they're like, what's wrong with this game? I gave him full intelligence and everyone still keeps treating him like that. It's like, that's the point of the game. Like, the guy's awful.
Like, do you know, like, what scenario do you wake up in? Like, what sort of life do you think has led you up to here? Like, how would you treat that person? But yeah, we won't get too in depth, but I just say that, like, out of all the games on this list, there's probably a good chance this is one that a lot of people won't know unless they've heard it from the podcast. Definitely give it your time. At least, like, listen to our last podcast or look up a trailer. Like, this game is one that you're never going to appreciate unless you play through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing games my whole life. It's like my number one hobby, and it's my 6th favorite. Like, I've played hundreds of games in my life, and this is number 6. Like, we're getting to the serious stuff now.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to give a piece of advice. Anyone that is looking to play it, I said this to everyone that's tried it. There's an event in the game that kind of hangs over your head on the first day, and it's quite stressful. It's the, like, you're going to lose your home if you don't earn enough money. Don't worry about it, because there's so many scenarios that can play out that you will find a way around it, even if you don't have enough money. So just don't get stressed out about it and just enjoy it. Because that is...
good advice.
Yeah. That is
because I was stressed about that. I was going around gathering up bottles and stuff to try and get enough money to,
and I wish I'd known. I
room.
wish I'd known that it wasn't, because there's so many different ways things can happen that it would be fine. So
and you're never going to die in the game. Like, there's always... Things can end up bad, but they're always going to work out, and the story's going to keep going along no matter what you do. So don't stress.
Yep. And shout outs to my boy Kim.
Always. Right, you're number 6.
My final one today. So I've realised that, except for Disco Elysium, which obviously we just talked about, these top 6, I almost don't want to do them on the podcast because I want to protect them. Because I'm like, I don't want them to have episodes because I don't want them to end up low on the list. So.
If they end up under Prey, you won't be happy.
Exactly. So my number 6 is Celeste from 2018.
Great.
I think this is the best 2D platformer ever made. It's pretty hard, but there is assist options. So if you're not that good at 2D platformers, you will be able to get through it. Unbelievably touching story, considering it's like a little 10 pixel tall blob that you play as. And also, like, I follow the creator on Twitter, and this story kind of helped them in their actual life after the game came out, and they didn't realize when they were making the story that they were kind of making it about themselves. It's basically about this girl who has to climb a mountain, and she's just like doesn't have any self-confidence or is like worried about it, but for some reason she's like, I need to climb over this mountain. There's something inside me that makes me want to do it. And you can jump, grab, and dash, and that's pretty much it. But it's like so varied. It's like the perfect length. I think it's like 8 chapters, and each chapter's got about 10 like scenarios in it, like 10 things in it. Like, it's just it controls amazingly. The music is amazing. The graphics are amazing considering how simple they are. Like, the use of color is unbelievable. It's just like, it has a lot of like fist pumping moments.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. I was really on board with this little Madeline. Her name's Madeline. Really on board with her story and what she was going through. Which, like, as I've said before, I never really rated video game stories. But that was one that I was like, touched by. So,
and some cool moments where it's like interactive as well. Like, there's like the bit when you're trying to calm down, you're like blowing like a feather, and it's like to calm you, but you're actually inputting. You're not just watching.
And almost like I can almost hear that, and I think about any other game, I'd be like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But for some reason, in Celeste, and also there's quite a cool bit where one of the characters like leans out of a text box as they're like coming for you. So it's just stuff like that like it's just got like another level to it, and I don't know, it just hit all the right notes at the right time, and I literally love the game. It's amazing.
Speaking of hitting the right notes, you glossed past it, but the soundtrack is like...
Oh, the soundtrack is amazing. Yeah.
Right, it's probably like, it's certainly in my top 5 favorite soundtracks of all time. I listen to it like all of the time still. Amazing soundtrack. And it does the nice thing, like, it's a challenging game, but not impossible. But like we were saying for like Mario, there's like, is it strawberries you can collect as well?
There's strawberries. There's a few different things you can get, but yeah, mostly strawberries.
And they're like really challenging. And then there's like B-side versions of the level. So it's like, if you want to play through the story, it's quite manageable. There's amazing accessibility options, so you can literally add like extra double jumps and stuff, like if you are stuck, so you can experience it. But then if you are like, if you have just come off Super Meat Boy or something and you want you want to keep that train rolling and you want the extreme challenge, like, you could spend a lot of time in this game. If you want to 100% it's going to really push you. Like, it's not just the pretty art and the soundtrack. Like, it's got the amazing level design and like the precise gameplay. I've watched a lot of videos like discussing even just like the way that you jump and the way that like it will like the way, like, say if you jump slightly off the edge of a platform, it will still like let you jump rather than make you fall down, because it just feels nicer. Or they've really fine-tuned like that style of like pixelated 2D platforming. I will just say is, I don't know if you had this trouble or what you played it on, but I didn't like playing it on a Switch controller.
Oh, I played on Xbox. I don't know.
Yeah, I recommend. So both. I mean, the Pro controller D-pad's not great, and then on the Joy-Cons, just the buttons, I really struggled with that. So I mean, I'm sure some people will find it fine, but I would recommend, if you've never played it before, if you can play it on something other than the Switch, maybe go that way.
And also, all the side characters are really good as well. Like, there's the guy that runs a hotel, and he's like, he's like a ghost, and he's running like a ghost hotel, but for some reason, like the way he's written, he's really believable. And like these characters, like these tiny little pixel people, like you really get on their side, and you're really like, you know, I think partly that's why it's so hard, is because like you really like want to get through it, and then when you do, you're like, yes, like this is the best thing ever, like I did it. Like, yeah, just unbelievable game. I was like obsessed with it for quite a long time, but yeah, number 6, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make my top 20, but when you said it, I was like, of course, of course, Celeste. I had no idea you loved it that much, like for it to be that high up. But I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it and share it.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it hit me, and I liked it. So
yeah, no, I mean, it's super popular and successful. No one's going to argue with you there. But yeah, that's it for this episode. So there's going to be one final one of them, which is the big top 5. So make sure you don't miss that one. I mean, if you made it this far, like you might, come on, we might as well get to the finish line.
Well, 2 of mine already come up. So my big finale's only got 3 games in it.
Well, we were talking about them really well. And you know what? I'm so bad at keeping track. I haven't even worked out what yours are. Like I think there's a couple that I probably have a pretty safe guess on, but even though it might not be many surprises, we'll still get to talk about our most beloved games. So yeah, that will be left as a link down below if you want to go straight there, assuming it's already online by the time you're watching this one. But apart from that, thank you so much, Ollie, for joining me. That was great.
Thank you. Thanks for giving my games the time of day and not saying they're rubbish. Like Killer 7, I was a bit worried about.
No, this is positivity only here. This is we're building each other up. And I liked Killer. Don't forget, I liked Killer 7. Yeah, but I just liked it the normal amount someone should. Oh dear! Right before Ollie has a go at me, I'm going to end this here. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you all later. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.